right, everybody, today we're going to practice multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit numbers while using the distributive property and the FOIL method. All right, so we're going to take this 23, that's where we're going to start, and we're going to break it up into its parts, which if we remember from class, that means 20 plus 3, because that's the same thing as a 23. Then we're going to break up the 72 the same way. 70 plus 2. All right. Now we need to remember our FOIL method. Who remembers the FOIL method? That stands for first, oh, my smartboard's not working very well. First, outer, inner, and last. Now that's important to remember because that's telling us the order in which we're going to multiply our numbers together to find their partial products before we add. So for the F, for the first, we want to take the first two numbers from each set. So in the first set, that'd be a 20. And in the second set, that's going to be a 70. So we're going to multiply that 20 and that 70 together. And we're going to use our shortcuts. Remember that 2 times 7 is 14. And we just add those two zeros onto the end. No big deal. It's one of our shortcuts. That's a terrible zero. There we go. Next, we're going to look at the outside numbers for the O. So the outside numbers, the farthest to the left, farthest to the right. So that gives us 20, and that gives us 2. So we're going to share those. We're going to distribute that 20 to that 2. 20 times 2. All right. We can use our shortcuts of 2 times 2. That gives us 4, and we have 1 0 to add on to the end. All right, now we're on to the inside numbers. That's the middle numbers. That'd be 3 times 70. All right, so 3 times 7 is 21. Add the 0 on the end. And L is for last, because we're going to use the last number from each set. So that's 3 and 2. That gives us 6. So now that we've found all of our partial products here, our last step, if you can remember, is to add it all up. Do you notice how when I was writing out my partial products here, these answers, I made sure I lined up the ones and the tens and the hundreds and the thousands place columns. I did that so we wouldn't have to rewrite it. If your numbers here are not lined up all nice and neat, that's okay. You can always write that over here to the side. You know, it's not a big deal. We can do that. So let's add up our ones column. Right here we get 6. Right here we have 0 plus 4 plus 1. That gives us a 5. Here we have 4 plus 2. That's a 6. And then a 1 plus nothing is 1. So if we go back to our original problem, we know that 23 times 72 equals 1,656.